actually about to install on one of my AR-15 rifles. This is the Samson Evolution rail, and this particular version of the rail is the Evolution EX. This is a rail which has a front sight post cut out on the front of the rail, specifically designed for relief from gas piston systems, but I'm actually going to use it in a little different application. I'm going to use it with a standard front sight post on an AR-15 mid-length gas system. This is a very neat, very well-designed rail. It's very sturdy. It's made out of 6010 T6 aluminum, and it's what you would consider a modular rail in that it is free-floating. It does not contact the barrel anywhere within this round tube. There's plenty of relief in there for the gas block and the barrel so that nothing contacts. There's also enough room here in the end to fit most suppressors, the Samson website says. It has a continuous 1913 Picatinny rail, aluminum here on the top with numbered spaces, and it also has multiple attachment points anywhere along the sides, bottom, and actually I think you can also use any of these slots here in the 45 degrees for attachment of various things like this sling QD attachment point that I've already went ahead and put on mine here. It does come with a couple of short rail sections. I put one on here. This has 4 slots on it for which I'm going to put my hand stop on. Comes with 2 of those. You could put these anywhere. You could put up here for a light mount in front of the front sight post if you wanted. It also comes with a longer rail section, which is twice as long as those, with 8 slots. Good for going on the bottom for bipods or hand grips or whatever you want, which is really neat. And they just attach simply with 2 Allen head wrenches, which is pretty ingenious. This rail in itself attaches to the barrel and to the upper receiver, I should say, using this thermal bushing. It's 2 pieces, goes around the stock barrel nut after you remove the delta ring, and locks up solidly with no movement, has anti-rotation pins, and secures down with these 2 Allen wrench screws there. Now that I got this nice and secure, I'm just going to give it a little encouragement to come off. And yeah, this thing moves pretty easily now. And there we go. Now that I've got my front sight post and the bayonet lug removed and it's shaved down the way I want it, I taped it off because I don't want to get any of this alumihide, anywhere else that it doesn't need it. So primarily I'm just going to be spraying, down here where you can see the exposed metal. And I didn't want any holes, for the taper pins to get overspray in them. So I've got this completely taped off. And now I'm going to put on the first coat, and then you're supposed to wait 30 minutes and let it dry. Probably put on a second coat and see how that looks, and then probably let it set overnight. Okay, now that I've got my front sight post removed and shaved down and refinished, now it's time to put the Samson rail onto the upper receiver. And the first thing to do when you do that is you have to install these 2 pieces of the thermal bushing. There's a particular orientation that you have to align when you put this on. It goes right over standard barrel nut here. If you look at these holes that run around the grooves on this thermal bushing, On one end there's a complete circle, on the other end there's only a half circle with an open side. The open-sided circle needs to go down toward the ground. So you'll position that in just that orientation, and after you get those lined up, then you can start sliding your handguard on. And there are some grooves on the inside of the Evolution handguard that you're going to need to line up in order to slide this back toward the receiver. Just like so. And as you can see, it's a very tight fit. 2 anti-rotation tabs here on the backs of the handguard, which sit up flush against the upper receiver and prevent any rotation. And also you can see that there's a nice continuous top rail there. This is actually slightly off-centered, and what I'll probably do is run back out and put a little bit more rotation on my barrel nut just to make sure that this lines up completely. And now I'm just tightening the last couple of turns on these 2 Allen retention screws at the bottom of the rail. And now this rail is completely installed here on this upper receiver. And the last bit of work that I need to do to get this complete is to put my front sight post back on and my flash hider. So overall, this went on incredibly easy. Okay, first I need to put my gas tube back into my front sight post because once I get this front sight post back onto the barrel, I won't be able to get to that tiny hole again, so it's best just to go on and do it now. And I'll reinstall it the same way that I took the roll pin out, just by putting this tiny roll pin right back through the tube. Now I've already inserted this tube and got it with the proper alignment. It should go from low to high with this bend about halfway down the gas tube. That's what gives it the correct height to enter the upper receiver. Okay, now that is good to go now. Now for the hard part, which is going to be getting all of this stuff lined back up inside this handguard. Now I'm going to improvise a little bit here with something a little bit crazy. There's absolutely no way with this tube being installed like this that I can line up this gas tube to get it through the barrel nut and into the receiver. So what I'm going to do is I took this wire hanger and I cut it off and I ran it straight through the action, and it's following the path that I want my gas tube to follow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert that into the middle of my gas tube. That way it will follow the same path, and as I'm advancing this, it'll push the hanger out the back of the receiver. That way I don't jam it up inside my gas tube. So let's see if this works. Now if I'm lucky, hope you can see that, my gas tube came right out where it was supposed to and followed this hanger. So that did its job. The best wire hanger I've ever had in my life. And now all I need to do is line up my holes in my gas block and my front sight and tap them into place, and we are completely done. Important to remember, these taper pins are obviously tapered, so they only go in one way. So you need to make sure that when you're installing them, that you're putting them in from the narrow end to the wide end. Now that situates perfectly right in that hole. I'm going to use a pretty big punch to get things started. And now I'm done. I have completely installed the Samson Evolution EX 9-inch rail onto an AR-15 upper receiver with a mid-length gas system and a standard front sight post. Like I said, Samson advertises freely on their website that this works with gas piston systems, and I've seen one post on a forum somewhere from Scott Samson himself where he said that it works with the standard AR-15 front sight, but have not successfully ever found anybody to document themselves doing it. So here it is documented first that these rails work perfectly with the standard front sight post. If you're a person like myself who likes to retain the front sight post for its durability and its functionality, this rail locks up very securely. It's very light and it's very adaptable with its multiple points that you can add attachments, such as this small rail and this QD sling attachment point. Last thing that I'll do before I take this out and shoot it is put my flash hider back onto the end of the barrel, and then we'll let the fun begin. So hope you enjoyed this, guys. Quick review and installation of the Samson Evolution 9 EX rail onto a mid-length AR-15 upper receiver with the standard front sight post. Thanks again.